Yes, this is a message for all of my friends um, about me being sort of alone on my own with Lyme disease. The first thing I want to say is that I really miss you all, and you know, I miss good times that we've had together, and I miss hanging out with you guys. And some of you have moved away while I've had Lyme disease, and I miss you guys. And um, you know, I've never been like a particularly outgoing person, but I do really value my friends. And another thing that I feel a lot when I, you know, see what you guys are up to is I'm really, I'm sort of envious of all of the degrees that you're getting and all of the illustrious things that you're doing. And I have a lot of respect for you. I guess I have some really good sets of peers who are, really wonderful at a lot of things. And, from TAMS and Stanford, I know a lot of people who are doing great things with their lives. So I'm happy for you guys. I'm just it's sort of a letdown not to be doing that sort of thing myself, because I guess I always thought I would be someone who would be maybe in graduate school doing something cool, and, you know, it's sort of not a very fun trade to trade that out for basically being at home most of the time for about 2 years and just being sick and really, you know, I think in this society we attach a lot of self esteem to achievement and what you do. You get your self esteem from what you do, and if you want to think better of yourself, you need to do something so you'll think better of yourself. And it's sort of hard to do that when like the you almost get negative self esteem if just doing basic minimum things is really hard. So, um, you know, not it's kind of hard to get self esteem from being like, I made it to the grocery store and back without like getting too tired. Like, no, those are the sort of things that I deal with. Is sort of so. I've been reading a lot of books recently about housewives and about moms staying at home to raise their kids, and I can really commiserate with the situation they're in, because you know, with chronic illness and being a stay-at-home mom, you're doing real work. You're really busy, and you're working all the time, and your life is not particularly rewarding. I mean, I'm sure it's rewarding to have kids, but it's not like you're being regaled with, or there's not like a lot of really like wonderful outer amusement going on. And it's a tough life, and it's an important job trying to get yourself better, raise kids. But it's just a job that is sort of invisible in society, where a lot of these books about housewives have been like, it's really unfortunate, but people tend to see stay-at-home moms as like, what do they do all day? Like, well, let's think about what they do. Wash the baby how many times, do the laundry how many times, cook that, clean that, like all the mess that kids make. There's a lot that they do, and there's a lot that I do in the way of getting well. And a lot of times when you people, or when some of you guys have asked me what I do, how am I keeping busy, I've said stuff like, well, getting better is kind of time consuming. And I always worry that you all are going to think, like, is she serious? Like, taking medication can't be that time consuming. I am pretty serious about this. Like, taking my medication takes me several hours a week, because for some of it I have to go down to the hospital. And that trip takes me about an hour and a half to get there, get the shots, come back. And other medication actually takes at least 5 minutes or so to take it, because there's like some of it you have to shake up, measure, some of it, you gotta swallow with water, and before meals, during meals, different times. And then I have a lot of supplements I have to take that my doctor's prescribed, so it's sort of part of my treatment. And then also I'll have symptoms that happen, and I'll have to go take something to take care of that. And so that's a big part of, treatment that's actually work, and a lot of calls to be made. When you're taking a lot of prescriptions, there's a lot of logistics and choosing a doctor, and it's just sort of time consuming. So a lot of symptoms will come up, and you gotta go to a lot of different specialists for different things. So that part's time consuming, and what was the main point? The main point I was getting at was that I guess getting better is real work, but I just don't feel like it counts. Like this is the hardest thing I've ever done. It's harder than any school I've been in, harder than, any academic challenges I've had, um, harder than any emotional or personal challenges I've had. And I was anorexic for a long time, and I guess different challenges can be different things to different people, but this is harder than running a marathon, harder than being anorexic, in my opinion, and harder than getting better from being anorexic. So, because I guess the hard thing about this is it affects your mind. And you're really, you know, most ways that we cope with problems are with our mind, I think, or like self control, or, strategic thinking, or planning, or, and what if your mind gets messed up though? What are you going to do in that case? Like, it's been very, very embarrassing for me to have my mind affected by this because for the longest time I was very dumb. Like, I was playing Scrabble with some friends, and I was like, I feel like my brain is getting like stuck at every stoplight. Like, I was like, really couldn't think about like different words. I used to be very good at Scrabble. My brain's getting a little better now that I'm on bacillin shots. It's basically penicillin that gets injected into your muscle, and so it really gets through your bloodstream, and that penicillin, you know, kills or stagnates Lyme disease. So that's what my Lyme doctor has me on now, and I can read again. I'm so excited about that. I love reading. So I'm sorry. I'm sort of in pain. That's why I'm acting kind of weird. Um, but so the point was that you know it's hard for me to really feel that great about myself when I just feel like I can barely do the thing the minimum person can do. I really couldn't even work at a minimum wage job right now. I can't even stand up for very long without getting really, really uncomfortable. So, yeah, so I guess it's important stuff that I'm doing, and I'm learning a lot from it. I'm becoming sort of fearless about asking for stuff because with Lyme disease, like, you're not gonna really get great treatment if you just lay back and have your doctors decide what happens to you. I don't know what I would have if I just, gone with whatever my doctor said I should do. I would probably be in a mental institution at this point because they were saying all of my issues were. I mean, after I had originally had Lyme disease, and I was relapsing after I stopped on antibiotics, they're like, "Well, you can't have Lyme disease anymore. You have taken doxycycline for 2 weeks." Like, sort of this odd dogma they have that like Lyme disease magically disappears after you take doxycycline for 2 weeks, even though like all the recent research shows that it can persist and come back in some cases, and particularly if you have other infections, other tick-borne infections at the same time, which I do. So um, I've had to really sort of fight for treatment and fight, sort of ask for what I needed, and a lot of times just even the regular things my Lyme doctors were doing were just not working for me. So I had to call and say like, I want this. And so it's made me less shy. I used to be sort of shy about asking for stuff, and I'm just so brazen now. Like, and it helps me in other areas of life too. Like, I can't eat gluten and I can't eat sugar. So when we're gonna go out to dinner, I call ahead and I say, in this dish, is there gluten or sugar? And I have them find the answer for me. Even though it might seem like a weird thing to do, well, whatever. Like, they're there to serve the customer, and I need to know this information so it's not awkward when I get there and I can't order anything. So it's gotten better in that regard. And oh god, I think I have to stop this one.